join us on Star Nations Communications from Home, which is a brand new show right here on Facebook, and it's really kind of fun to be doing. And so I'm just going to talk just a little bit, and hopefully we'll get some people to join us, and then start sharing it so that when other people get to know about it too. Okay, so this is Star Nations Organization, LLC, which is co-founded by myself, Neshi Lokotz, and also by my business partner and Nami. Nami is word for sister in Comanche. Why we use Comanche, that was another story in itself, is Denise Iwana. And between the two of us, we started communications and started with the radio show first, Radio Network, and then we went from Radio Network to the magazine, Star Nations Magazine, and from the magazine to the Star Nations Academy, and now the advisors and publishing, and so we're busy. But this is a brand new venue for us. You know, about a year ago, we were kind of teasing about being in media, you know, and somebody was actually calling us media moguls, kind of teasing, of course. But anyway, we knew that we wanted to try TV at some point. So this is kind of like a baby step in that direction. And so we're fun. It's fun to have this kind of new venue. I was just telling my guest, Leslie Cirinesi, about this just before we went live, is that using Be Live TV app means that we can use the app with Facebook, and it is a live show. It's kind of like live streaming, but we can reach so many more people, and also we can have guests on with us. Whereas on a live stream, you can't really do that because we tried and failed. We tried. So what I'm going to ask is, if those people who are watching, what you could do for us is to share hit the share button and share it with all your friends, and if you can, share it with public. Because what we're going to be talking about tonight, I think a lot of people are really interested in it and would find the information that's going to be shared valuable, and not just valuable, but that insight, that aha kind of stuff going on. And while you do that, I am going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to, we're on the network and magazine page doing this live, so that's where I'm going. And I can see myself there. And I'm going to hit the like button and then the share. And I'm going to share to the public. And that's going to go on my wall, on my timeline. And then it gets shared out so that people can come join us. Okay, so if you could do that for me, I'd appreciate that. There we go. I'll remind you one more time once we get started, once we get rolling, to do the share. So tonight is, the show that we're doing is to highlight the contributing writers for Star Nations magazine, but also the radio show hosts, the advisors, the teachers. And so this is our second show, and I am really happy to have our guest with us tonight. Leslie Cirinesi is one of our contributing writers, and Leslie and I met, it's got to be 10 years, maybe, close, something like that. She invited me over to Clarkston, Michigan, to teach a drum making workshop there at her store. At the time, she had a store. And so I went over there, and we hit it off. It was fun, and we've been friends ever since. And when we were looking for somebody to write about animal communications for the magazine, she was the person that I really wanted to get on board. And so we're very happy to have her with us tonight, and very happy to have Leslie as one of our contributing writers. And so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her before we bring her on the screen, okay? So Leslie is an animal communicator, but she's also a Reiki master and a Reiki teacher. She specializes in animal Reiki to help animals heal and release emotional baggage caused by abandonment, abuse, adoption, and other issues. She helps clients all over the world with their animal families and communicating with pets to discuss if they are in pain, feeling sick, possible end-of-life decisions, or if they have behavioral issues. Leslie can also communicate situational changes to your pet, such as a move to a new house, a baby coming into the family, going on vacation, and bringing another pet into the home. Leslie does not need to be face to face with your pet, with your furry animal friend. She can use a picture. She does it from a distance, and she can communicate with your pets both present and also past. So I'm going to bring Leslie on with me. And here is Leslie. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, Neshi.
Welcome to Star Nation's Communications from Home.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to have you here with us.
Thanks.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to do is I learned something last week. I have to have the full screen when I do this because otherwise it gets cut off. So here is the magazine for May. That's the cover. And in here, I'm going to flip to Leslie's article. I should have had it marked. Whoops, went right by it. Here's Leslie's column. Make sure I get it in the frame there. There we go. That's her column. And her column is called Communicating with Sacred Animals because they're all sacred. They all have something to say to us, and we have somebody like Leslie to be able to help us with that. So Leslie, how long have you been an animal communicator?
Well, when I was a little kid, I used to think that I knew what animals were thinking and feeling. And so I would tell my parents what the dog was saying. And they told me it was just my imagination and just ignore it. So I turned it off for a very long time. And just about, let me see, it's been about 10 years ago, it sort of flipped back on. My intuition started to get much stronger. And I went to a grizzly bear rescue sanctuary in Montana to give some grizzly bears Reiki. And I was a little disturbed to find out that I could understand what they were saying and I could hear what they were thinking. And so it just blew back open again.
Wow. That must have been awe-inspiring. And, it's like to have such a large energy as a grizzly.
Yes.
Come to you. And what, can you remember the very first thing that you heard? I forget his name.
Brutus.
Brutus. What did Brutus say?
He sounded like a young boy.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah, he was very funny. He would say, you know what? And I would say, what? And he said, I like grapes. You know why? And I said, why? And he said, because they pop in your mouth and it's hilarious. So he didn't seem very big and scary when he talked to me like that, when he communicated that way. Yeah. But the really big aha thing was when he kept showing me in my head, he kept showing me this picture of him eating a candy cane and just being so happy about it, just loving this candy cane. And I thought, no, that can't be right. They wouldn't give a grizzly bear a candy cane. So I kept asking him, show me again. Yeah. And he kept showing me the same thing. And so, of course, this is all going on in my head. And so I'm making this face, and the director, Amy, said to me, what's going on? And I said, well, does he like peppermint? And she said, oh, he loves candy canes. And so then I knew I couldn't be making it up because I wouldn't have picked that. I wouldn't have picked candy canes. I would have picked something, stereotypical,
like salmon.
Or blueberries or something. Yeah, something, normal. Yeah. And so then that was kind of my wake up call. And so I owe it all to Brutus. I give him the credit because he popped it back open for me.
Yeah. And if I remember right, that was Brutus, you wrote about that experience. I think it was in your first article that you ever wrote for us.
It was.
Yeah. And I remember, I see all the articles numerous times before they actually get printed. And I remember reading that first time, and it just touched my heart that there is this, like I said, this very large energy as a grizzly bear. and how the two of you formed this friendship, this lasting, enduring friendship. See, it even brings tears to my eyes right now when I think about it.
Don't make me cry.
Well, it's just so sweet.
It is. He really is a very, very beautiful soul, and I really love talking to him. I talk to him whenever I can, and in fact, Denise interviewed me on the radio soon after, I think right after I wrote that article, and it just so happened that when she interviewed me, I was there in Montana, just feet away from Brutus. So that was really fun that I got to do it from there.
Now, see, when I did the promo for this show, I was saying, get the backstory. You have to come on in and get the backstory and get the gems that we can't fit into every show or every issue of the magazine, right? And that's one of the gems. That's one of the backstories, because most people may have heard that radio show. And by the way, it is archived. You can go back and listen to that show again through the archives at Blog Talk Radio, and also podcast, iTunes. But I was the producer for that show.
That's right. That's right. I remember it was early in the morning in Montana.
Montana, yes. And that was a terrific show, and it went so well with your article, to be able to bring those two pieces together.
Yeah, it was nice because it was a nice introduction to the magazine, and also, for people to have a chance to get to talk to me or hear me talk and get to know me a little bit before they start reading my articles. So that was really fun.
Yeah. So, with Star Nations magazine, each month what we do is we have a list of topics that contributor writers write about in that particular issue, right? And most recently, the animals that we have, the energy of those animals that we have, archetypes, some people might call them, have been wild animals. They haven't been golden retriever or parakeet or, something that we would normally have in our homes, right? They've been wild animals. And in the May issue, the topic was deer. Yeah. And you touched a very large memory for a lot of people, because in that article you wrote about your connection to deer, which came through the movie
Bambi.
Right. And so many people, believe it or not, have never really seen the movie.
Well, that's the weird thing. I thought I had seen the movie. And I had all these great memories. And so to me, the quintessential deer was Bambi. So, whenever I would think of deer, I would think, oh, Bambi. And, hunters are Bambi killers. And, so I started to think about the movie, and I realized that I could only remember Thumper, and I could only remember Flower, and I could only remember Bambi, and I couldn't really remember much of the other things. And so I kept thinking, did I really see this movie? So I called my mother and I said, hey, did you take us to the how many times do we go to the theater and see Bambi? And she said, oh, I couldn't take you because I knew that you would be just so traumatized by the fact that Bambi's mother gets killed. And I'm like, Bambi's mother gets killed?
Oh my gosh.
I said, what do you mean Bambi's mother gets killed? And she said, that's
why I didn't take you.
That's why I didn't take you. And I thought, okay, now I know I didn't see it. All this time I thought I had seen it.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, maybe I should go back and actually watch it, because here I had all these fond memories of Bambi the movie and thought, I think I must have just seen snippets or trailers or something. And then I decided that maybe I shouldn't go back and watch it. I think I kind of like my version better, the big, Bambi with the doe eyes.
Yep, with the long eyelashes. And,
yes.
Yeah, the friends, the forest friends. Yeah, well, the thing is that I didn't see the movie either. Now my older brothers did, but the last three of us, we never saw the movie. Although we had the book. I remember the cover of the book.
Didn't he have a butterfly on his tail or something? Yeah.
And so I think that there's a lot of people who never saw the movie. And so when you struck a memory chord for a lot of people. And then the fact that the communication you had with the elk, which is the genus, is that right? Of deer, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
That the elk and the deer fall in the same kind of family.
Right. Yeah. Moose, elk, deer.
Yeah. Yeah. And that you shared your experience with an elk. And I tell you what, I had to laugh because Paul and my husband and I are very much into Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and the conservation of land and the animal, or the elk, right?
Right.
And of course, with the drum making and that sort of thing, that's my connection to the elk.
Right.
And so when you shared your communication with the elk, I literally had to laugh because it's like when you thought that the same elk with what he did was pose.
Yes,
because they do.
They do. So the first time I went to Yellowstone, I was so excited. I mean, I was so fidgety. Just as soon as we went through the gates, we were, animal scouting, looking around, and I started to slow down for some reason because I was driving, and I looked over to the left, and there amongst these beautiful trees was this just gorgeous, so regal elk with the big, the big, huge rack. And he was just posing, and he was so handsome. And I was able to snap a picture of him. And I stood there for a while, and I swear that he just was standing there, posing, and he would just move so gracefully. And it was so beautiful. And I go back to Yellowstone every chance I get, at least once a year. And it just so happens that I can usually find him. And the first time that I went back and I found him, I asked him if we could have a conversation, but he was actually on his way. So he blew me off. He was on his way. He had something he had to do. He had a prior engagement. I don't know, but he told me he didn't have the time. And so, how can I argue with that, with the elk that's on the go? So actually I came back a few months later, and I sought him out again, and I found him, and he was able to have a conversation with me. And it was really a very profound conversation for me. But one of the things I did ask him is, hey, that first time I saw you, you were amongst the trees, were you posing? And he said, I said, were you posing for the picture? And he said, I don't really remember that. But he said, I don't really pose, but I do try to make myself known. And I try to make people aware and try to show people, the beauty and, of nature. And hopefully, people will care for what they know. And it kind of reminded me of the Yoda quote, from Star Wars about, hate leads to anger. I forget how it goes now, but it's basically that, when you really care about something, then you'll take pride in it, and you'll worry about it, and you'll, make arrangements. Yeah, protect it. Thank you. So that's really what he was trying to do. He's trying to make people aware and try to make people see, the beauty. And so it was really profound. So whenever I go, I try to find him, and it's really interesting.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. We only have a couple minutes left. And I'm kind of torn between two different questions. One is that I know that you can communicate with our animal friends, our family friends, after they've crossed over. And so many of us, when we think we lose, right?
Yeah, right.
Them, when they cross over, we really don't. And so if you could help us understand that a little bit, because I know that it affects humans so intensely to have their furry friend leave them.
Right. Yeah, we kind of mourn, the physical loss, but, they gave me this great analogy once that I really love. And it was a dog that said, when I'm alive in my physical body, it's like I'm wearing pajamas. And when I die, it's like I take the pajamas off. But I'm still here. It's just I'm running around naked.
Now there's an image.
It was a funny dog. But, basically it's just shedding, their outer layer, and the inner layer is no different. And so they tell me, I'm still right here. And so, I know a lot of us sense them, we feel them. Sometimes we hear them. We think we see them out of the corner of our eye, or we feel them jump on the bed. And we actually do. They do continue to, be our companions. It's just we don't, have them in the physical form anymore. So it's nice, and it's actually very comforting.
Yes, it is. It really is. And I know that you had communicated with Ginger for me after she crossed over, and it was very helpful. It was very helpful, and it helps with the grieving process.
It does. It really does. Yeah.
And so I know that there's many people who like to have assistance in communicating with their loved ones. And so how do people get a hold of you to do that?
Yeah, so I updated my website so that you can go and book your own appointment. So if you go to www.ispeaktoanimals.com, and you can click on schedule an appointment, you can see my calendar, and you can pick your own appointment time and just schedule it right there. So that's one way. Also, my other website, they just redirect to each other, but it's advancedenergytherapy.com. They can also call me. My phone number is on the website, and they can message me through the website. So, and I also have the Facebook page at Advanced Energy Therapy. So,
okay, so Advanced
Energy Therapy
on Facebook.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's lots of ways to track me down, no matter where I might be.
And she does travel quite a bit.
I do.
Yeah, she does. So, Leslie, final words for our listeners?
It's really interesting because our pets really do understand a lot more than we think they do. And sometimes anxiety that they have is from not knowing what's going on. So it really seems to help when clients contact me and they say, can you explain to my dog or my cat or my horse or whatever it might be that, we have to take them to have surgery, or, they're just going to go get fixed and they're going to be at the vet for overnight and then they'll be home. Or I just had one where a dog was being shipped to California on a plane to go to dog shows there and become a champion. And, those kind of things can be really, sort of upsetting to them because they just don't understand what's going on. Or even if you've just adopted a dog that had been moved around from foster to foster, sometimes they just don't realize that this is where their home is now because they just think that it's another stop on the way. So it really does help to talk to them about those things. Let me talk to them about those things. Or of course, health issues and those kind of things I can help with. I can't diagnose anything, but I can certainly help you say, well, this is where it's hurting and this is how long it's been hurting. So there's a lot of different reasons that that you would want to call and have a conversation with your pet. So
yeah. And I just wanted to thank you again for taking time.
Oh yes,
out of your Tuesday night to be here with us and to share about your gift of communicating with animals, with other beings, and also taking the time to write for us every month.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad. I'm so glad because I tell you what, it's the information that you share is very helpful and insightful. And we always say we like walking the red road together, and we do. Yes. We do. Yes.
So. And thank you for inviting me to walk that road with you.
Yeah. And we're going to have fun. More fun doing it. Well, thank you. And I'm going to say just a couple more things about Star Nations, and I'm going to let Leslie listen to us. She's going to go in the green room. Okay, here we go. All right. That was fun. But you know what? That 15, 20 minutes goes by really, really quickly. So I appreciate the listeners and the watchers here and those who will be looking at the recorded show to be with us. I wanted to show you a couple of things before we say goodnight. Here's the magazine again, Star Nations magazine. bridge from ancient information, spiritual information to modern times, and communications from home. This is the May issue. You can go to starnations.org to get information about how to order your copy. It can be in print on demand. You can have it as a digital for iPhones and Android. You can have it as a PDF, and you can look at it on any one of your computers. Also, some people who don't even want to keep it in their hard drive, you can, and that is on our partners, magcloud.com is where you go for those items for the magazine. And I have to show you this. This is Julie Hedges' book, Tarot Journey, Volume 1. And Julie is one of our authors. She's also a contributing writer. And if you are interested in the ancient language of the tarot, this is a really good book, because she'll teach you about card layouts and their meanings and all the kinds of stories that goes over them. So it's a really good book. And we're very excited about this. So it's kind of like a sneak peek, because this is the proof copy of the book. We're going to be sitting down and doing some tweaks and that sort of thing. This is Minnie Kansman. Minnie Kansman is also one of our contributing writers. She is an author. This is her second book that she's authored, and this is the proof copy of her new book, Missing Nana, Lessons, trying to get it out of the glare, Lessons from the Nature Spirits. And this is a book that is actually meant for children, but it really is for anybody, all ages. And it's about for people who are facing death of a significant person in their life. It shares an emotional, loving, and playful glimpse into the world of nature, and it's offering us a unique perspective. So this is just the proof copy. Now, book launch is June 18th. We're going to be doing a Be Live book launch on June 18th. So put it on your calendar and come with us, because we're going to be doing some giveaways, and Minnie's going to be on with me, and she'll be talking about her journey with the book. And Dana will be joining us as well. Denise Iwana will be joining us as well. So we need to let everybody know that. And you know what? I was remiss. We have a couple people with comments that I'd like to share with you. Kitty Lamore saying, enjoying the interview, ladies. Peggy Doherty Doll, so interesting. I love your stories, is what she's saying. And so thank you for joining us. And we are doing Star Nations Communications from Home every week, Tuesday night. You can join us at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and come and join us. Our next guest will be another contributing writer to the magazine, and yeah, we'll have some fun. Okay. I want to say thank you again to Leslie for joining us. It's fun. And so if you need help with communicating with one of your pets, you can always contact her on Facebook, Advanced Energy Therapy, or go to her website, ispeakwithanimals.org, right? .org?
No, ispeaktoanimals.com.
.com. ispeaktoanimals.com. Short memory. My long memory is really better. Thank you, everybody, and have a nice rest of the evening, and we'll see you again next week on Star Nations Communications from Home. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.